Let's move right along here, people. I'm really excited to introduce our next speaker. He is the current general manager and CMO at CloudApp, a video collaboration tool. He has over 15 years experience working in marketing and strategy. Prior to CloudApp, he led multiple content research and social teams at Adobe. In under 18 months, his team has more than doubled traffic and signups to CloudApp. And in this talk, he's going to take you through the strategies that can help you and your brand do the same. Please welcome to the stage, virtual standing ovation, Joe Martin.
Hey everyone, I'm excited to be here. Hey, I'm really thrilled to be going through these marketing playbooks with everyone. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to kind of share everything that's going on at CloudApp and also what I've been able to do during my time there. So for marketing playbooks to increase web traffic and conversion, I'll be going through a lot of stuff that we initially did as part of my team, and also just kind of figured out along the way. So I thought it'd be good to share, day one of remote work for me. This was pretty crazy to make the shift, and this was my desk for at least the first few weeks of moving to remote work. Currently the VP of Marketing at CloudApp. I'm a former data and content social lead at Adobe. Definitely a reformed ski bum. I live in Utah and love to ski. I'm excited for the season to start. Father of 3 boys, and then an awesome wife of 15 years who I couldn't do anything without, and she obviously wrote that piece. You can find me at Twitter at Jody Marty, or on LinkedIn, Joe Martin MBA. So check me out there and definitely connect so we can talk further. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the move from Adobe to CloudApp. So this happened, kind of the motion started happening around 2 years ago. And it was a big change for me moving from an enterprise to a small company. But it's worked out pretty well. Had a lot of people ask me, why CloudApp? And I think the answer is I saw a lot of good pieces about the company. Has over 4 million users now. Video is kind of the key component of CloudApp. It allows you to record your screen, create screenshots, and share those instantly with people. So there's a lot of movement toward that space, and obviously remote work has really kind of rocket shipped the company this year. So there was no real marketing in place when I started, and so I took that as kind of an opportunity to grow my own team and really take some pieces that were already there and really kind of build on those things. So how could a team of 3 more than double our signups web traffic in 18 months? And there was already a decent amount, it wasn't doubling on a small number. We're currently getting a large amount of traffic every month. And really, I kind of only have a couple of full-time people, a bunch of interns, and then a lot of contractors that I'm kind of managing. And the core people are Miley Waite, who's kind of over content and SEO, and then Michael Roberts, who leads automation and some demand gen with me. So really, when I first came into CloudApp, it was all about assessment. I looked at the data, tried to understand where the company was in terms of marketing, and there was just a lot of kind of inconsistent behavior, which is kind of the key, can kind of be the case with a lot of startups, where you don't put a lot of consistency in marketing. It's kind of campaign driven, and when you have budget. So I assessed what was there, what was working well, what we should maybe double down on, and really kind of dialed in on those things. And that leads to kind of the 4 key playbooks that I put together that we've been drilling on for almost 2 years now at CloudApp. Number 1 is consistency. Number 2 is quality and efficient content. Number 3 is network, and number 4 is analytics. So we'll be diving into each of these Really, I found that consistency is kind of the true number one. It's really important to find consistency in marketing and not abandon too quickly, but really look for ways that you can exploit what's happening. So one of the most underrated aspects of growth is just having consistent focus and knowing when to exploit those areas. If you want SEO growth, you need to commit to long-term strategy of SEO. You need to create a website that's easy for Google to crawl. You need to really invest in content and really double down on that strategy. You can see on the right here, this is kind of our website visits growth over the last 2 years. And we really immediately went to consistency with content. It was, content focus on the blog, lots of use case pages to help people know how to use our product, lots of different guest posts on various sites to kind of bring some awareness, and then really just making sure we invested in those things continually versus getting distracted. And it can be really easy to get distracted. I've always loved this scene from Up where the dog is distracted by a squirrel that's walking by. And it can be easy to be not truly invested in consistency. So you can say, hey, we should do a blog. And then you write, 5 posts and they get 0 visits. And you're like, oh man, that didn't work very well. Or, hey, we should do a podcast. And you do 10 podcasts and, they get no downloads. And so you think that didn't work very well. But you really need to start by kind of analyzing where you are, where you would like to be, and start with really strong foundational pieces of content and automation to help get you there. Consistent focus on the areas that your company has to build on. And then you also need to just get buy-in and produce results. You need to have your CEO on board if you're a C-level person, or if you're leading as an analyst or a more junior person, having your boss on board. And then continually optimize and focus on things that will make things better along the way. If you don't keep producing results, the patience will run thin eventually with your investment. So make sure that you're still kind of investing in things that will actually keep growing. And then when you see kind of some of the results flowing in, like we saw, blog was doing very well. A lot of SEO was doing very well with some keywords we were focusing on. So we doubled down on those efforts. So once you have some initial results, you can really focus your resources, focus your time on doubling down on those results. Look at different things like CAC, which is customer acquisition costs, or payback periods and other metrics, conversion rate that will help you understand what's working, what's not, and how you can get better. Number 2 playbook is quality and efficient content. So as you can imagine, joining from Adobe to CloudApp, I lost a lot of great resources and did not have as much budget as I had at Adobe. So I had to really focus on things that didn't take a lot of time, but maybe produced really big results. One of these things was a live stream podcast. So I wanted to bring on guests and really kind of ask them questions around customer experience, because that's kind of a place that CloudApp can thrive in. So I started by getting guests. That podcast was streamed on YouTube and LinkedIn. So an example here is with the CMO Box, Chris Kohler, who's a guy I used to work with at Adobe. That led to a blog post, it led to a podcast, and it led to socials, and now actually we have some ebooks coming out from those podcasts. So this one 32-minute interview has led to 5+ pieces of content, that we can really continually to mine for a very long time. And we've done 42 episodes. We've done 42 episodes of the podcast so far for season 1, and it's a well that we kind of keep going into. Also, a really underrated piece of a podcast is the transcript. It's really lengthy, long content that is good for SEO, and it is a lot easier to produce than, say, a blog post where you're doing lots of research. So definitely look into things that are efficient and things that can help you. We also have a pretty good blog that really started around 0 visits and now has over 200,000 a month. That was really driven by theme and personas. So I wanted CloudApp to be tied into different themes like productivity, remote work, and then also fit into our core personas of our customer base, which is customer support, engineering, product, and sales and marketing. So if you go to the CloudApp blog, you'll see lots of different pieces of content, but they fit into a calendar that ties into our core strategy, which is persona focused and theme focused. So these quality and efficient pieces of content and really kind of the focus on a theme and persona driven blog has really helped us to grow that and provide really great content that's more than doubled our web authority according to Google. And these were all, data driven. We looked at views and also paying customers to really understand what pieces of content we should be putting out. If you're looking at kind of the funnel, which is a traditional way to look at customers coming into your business, mid-funnel is really great for how-to content around use cases. So the blog is really a lot of top-of-funnel awareness. And then my team also created a lot of these use case pages. So it's like a key persona for us is customer support. So it's like close tickets 3 times faster with CloudApp, and it takes you through, some Google search. Some support rep is going to Google how to close tickets faster, and you'll see us there, and they'll find out, hey, I can use CloudApp to record my screen and close tickets faster and provide a good experience for people. So these can be anything from how to use things within your product for like product marketing, and make sure they align with high-level searches in the space that can perform really well and have a good conversion rate. Bottom of the funnel webinars and customer stories. We also put a big focus on really just bringing these to light. There were a lot already produced, and the webinars, we've had a lot of success with tips and tricks webinars. So we have a large community of over 4 million people, and so we want to make sure that everyone is knowing how to use the product and is really finding success with the product. So bottom of funnel webinars, customer stories can really help people push over the edge to becoming a loyal customer. So the next thing is your network on your teams, executives, whoever you network can tap into at your company. They can provide opportunities for collaboration with content, research, social, all areas of marketing. Over the last 18 months, CloudApp has launched content partnerships with dozens of brands. I have included a few here. And that's really helped us with domain authority, which is kind of an SEO factor for marketing, and also backlinks. So if you look at the right, that's the kind of chart of backlinks to CloudApp. And those are another ranking factor that provide lots of traffic coming into the site. So we linked up with these couple of the examples of these brands here, where we did guest post exchanges, hosted them on webinars, did research reports, provided a quote, whatever it might be. We're all in kind of this content game, so finding people you can network with that you've worked with in the past, or whoever can bring you into that network, can be really helpful. it really kind of turns into a web as well. A lot of the people we paired up with on content partnerships are also customers. So we kind of spider into different groups where, let's say, customer support at one company is using us for something. We connect with their marketing team, and now suddenly their marketing team is using us. So it's really a network. And here's kind of a tweet I said that's kind of something similar, but jobs are applied for, careers are networked into. So use your network, find ways to enlarge the pie, and find ways you can really connect and find that success. So kind of the last few minutes here, I want to get into my last playbook, which is analytics and data driven. So I come from a company at Adobe that was very data driven, very focused in marketing. So I wanted to bring that in to CloudApp as well. And as if you're in a SaaS business, you know that ARR, that's annual recurring revenue, is kind of a key metric. So we created this acronym of ARR, which is acquisition, retention, and revenue. So these are kind of our three wildly important goals that we're searching for each quarter and focusing on, and everything else is kind of a subcategory of leading each of these three. So definitely have dashboards and manageable review cadences. One of the most underrated aspects of growth is just consistent focus and really understanding your analytics. But also making sure you're tracking the right things. So we have something at CloudApp we call an aha moment that we're always tracking. It's kind of where people discover that CloudApp is pretty cool and it saves them time, and they start to use it pretty aggressively after that moment. So we're tracking things like that, or conversion on the website, and then manageable review cadence based on the size of your company. So if you're small, then you may not be able to pull data. It may be like a weekly or a monthly thing. If you have a larger team, you may be looking at it daily and understanding it that way. But really looking for ways to understand that process, having a good cadence for reviewing your data, and looking for ways that you can really glean more. And one of the things with analytics too is it's really grows along the way. You may think some things are important and those numbers change. So there's an element of always looking for new metrics, but also trying to find some consistency so that your strategy is not crazy and is not frustrating for other people in the company, so that everyone's goals really kind of align. So dashboards are great, manageable reviews, and having kind of those team meetings that can really be helpful. So lastly, I just kind of want to spend some time on summarizing and adding some keys. So you can assess your situation at any given time. It could be when you're coming into a new job, it could be at the start of a quarter, and this also may be something that you are continually doing. But really understand where you are and where you'd like to be. There's an element of there's a time to innovate and kind of create your own stuff, and there's a time to imitate. The tricky thing with imitation, like if you look at a company and you're like, hey, I really love how Adobe does their website, or I love how this product is set up. Remember that you don't have data on if that's actually working or not. So careful with imitation. Whatever someone else does may not actually work for your audience. So always be looking at the data. Be consistent on your strategic areas. So when I came into CloudApp, I saw some good pieces of SEO, some good pieces of content, some good pieces of automation. So I immediately doubled down on those things. And then, we've jumped into ABM, we've jumped into social, we've jumped into lots of different areas of marketing, but the core focus was on those things that were already proven to be working. So have kind of those cash cows that you keep drawing from, and then have those areas of your marketing feed into other things. You really need to create quality content for each stage of the funnel. You'll notice that I put all of these keys as number one because I think they're all really important. But create quality content for each stage of the funnel. So if you bring someone in for a blog post, then you want to be able to retarget them with a good use case page or a good ebook. If you get someone to sign up, you want to be able to invite them to a good tips and tricks webinar to help them get launched and moving. That content really needs to be quality along each stage of the funnel, and it really kind of works together. It really is builds on each other and expands kind of the opportunity. Expanding the pie in the network. I can't tell you enough how it's so important to be able to connect with other people. Conferences are obviously a great way to network, but you'd be surprised at just perusing LinkedIn and seeing who your first connections are, and reaching out to them and seeing if there's an opportunity to partner, how you might be able to find those things. I definitely benefited from having such a big company that I was at for such a long time in Adobe, but I also hustled a lot while I was there. So I was taking different people to lunch all the time, learning lots of new things, and then those people went to new companies, and I've tried to keep those relationships alive. So expand the pie, network, look at your customer base. Who could you do a partnership with outside of them just using your product, and look for those opportunities. And then kind of lastly, but definitely not last where it should be, but reviewing your data and really having clear goals. So when you review your data, I have several things that I'm kind of always watching, which is like source of signups, source of traffic, and really trying to glean and double down on the things that are working and things that aren't. You're not always going to have perfect attribution of where a signup came from, so sometimes you just have to do your best with what you have and make sure that you're kind of making decisions based off of data, but also some things you'll have to do kind of blindly, and then you'll eventually get data on. So reviewing your data and having clear goals is really going to help you as a leader, your team, to align to things. And I also think it's important to have clear company goals that kind of cascade down to different orgs. So with CloudApp, we do the ARR thing, and each, the product, engineering, marketing, operations, sales have goals that relate to those three things. And so we're all kind of fighting for the same thing, and all kind of trying to find ways that we can benefit one another across orgs, and understanding how we can improve and work together to kind of form some synergies. So that's all I kind of have, and this has been kind of a great chance to talk with all of you. I'm excited to connect with the group, and I do have some time for some questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. Yes, we do have a couple of minutes just for, I think, at least one question. This one came from Kevin. So how do you make your how-to content more engaging and attractive to your customer and encourage them to look there rather than contacting support?
That's a good question. Yeah, support docs are great, but without being self-serving, a lot of people actually will use CloudApp for that. So it creates how-to tutorials. So you can record yourself creating a video of how to use your product, and then either download that file or embed the CloudApp link that people can view. So it's a combination of having different areas where you're posting that, if it's like a blog post or use case page, and then obviously your support doc. So you'll probably find people will look 4 or 5 different places before they actually contact support. So hopefully you have some content in one of those areas that can kind of answer their questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you for your time and thank you for joining us again on stage.